Hey there, I'm with Sarah from Sarah's Crochet, and she is going to tell us a little bit about herself and her shop. So, over to you, Sarah.
I guess I'll start by telling you a little bit about my shop. My shop has all kinds of crochet goodies, all stuff that I made myself. Stuffed animals and hats and baby blankets and mug rugs and keychains and probably a whole bunch more that I can't even remember right now. And I started the shop because I really love to crochet, but my apartment was becoming just kind of overrun with things that I'd made. You know, no one needs a windowsill full of like 50 alpacas. It's just a little bit excessive. So I thought I'd find some new homes for some of the things that I'd made.
Awesome. How did you learn to crochet?
Well, I got started. I actually had a big surgery a couple of years ago, and I was instructed to lay down a lot afterwards and do nothing, but I'm very bad at doing nothing. So I had to find something that I could do while I was recovering. So I got a hook and a ball of yarn and just looked up on YouTube, how to do the different stitches, how to read the patterns. And I kind of just figured it out from there. Honestly, reading the patterns was the hardest part to learn for me because it just looks like gibberish. But I got the hang of it eventually. So yeah, that's kind of how I taught myself and how I got started with it.
So, how long have you been selling on Etsy?
I've been selling on Etsy for about a year now. It took me months once I got the idea to work up the courage to actually open the store because, you put so much effort and time into these things and you want other people to like them as much as you do. So it's kind of a vulnerable, position you put yourself in to open a shop and to open, just open the world up to what you're making and see, what people think.
That's so true. It's very intimidating to sort of invite people into your space and to open it up to critique, like what you think is going to be critique. But usually
Yeah.
it's positive, but it's so scary. That first publish button is so scary.
Yep.
Feel you there. Can you tell us a little bit about your creative process though?
Yeah. So for me, there's really two answers to this question. There's two ways that I come up with what I'm going to make next. The first one is browsing patterns online, which I could do for hours because I want to make all of them. And, that's provided me with just an endless list of projects that I want to make. And the second way that I come up with things to make is when people make custom orders. And I kind of love it because they ask me to make things that I never would have thought of making myself. But I kind of love how it turns out, and I love kind of the new ideas. Some of the things that I've made that were not my idea, but turned out pretty great. I made a couple of rhinoceroses, a bunny holding a peach, a giant alpaca, things that wouldn't have come to me, but they were great ideas. So I was glad that I was commissioned to make them.
That's really, really cool. Can you tell us about a really cool, just leading up to that, a really cool customer experience you've had then?
Yeah. So I've been fortunate to have a lot of kind messages and reviews and stuff like that. But the one that's kind of coming to mind is I had a woman and she bought a stuffed octopus for her baby. And I got a message when she got it that said, I got it and I loved it so much, I had to keep it for myself. I couldn't give it up. And the funniest thing about that is that was not an isolated event. It has happened before. It's happened a few times where people bought something for someone else and they just couldn't give it up.
That's awesome. Kudos to you for having a product that people love that much.
Yeah, they're like, oh, it's so cute, I can't give it up. Hey, no judgment here.
That's great. Well, hopefully then they turn back and bought it again.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Tell us about a really cool spot you've shipped to.
man, when I was thinking about this, I went through and looked in my orders to see, and I saw Canada, Australia, Germany, the United States, the United Kingdom, Switzerland. And I started thinking, man, I could start a map and just put pins in all of these places. And even just in the United States, I must be up to at least 10 or 15 states, which is really neat.
Awesome.
And sometimes, you know, I'll see the abbreviation of a state and I'll think, what is MT? It's Minnesota. You know, like I'm not always sure where it is. So it's neat to kind of look and see where it's coming from.
That's so cool. You definitely should start a map. I totally recommend that. That's really neat to just like follow it and see things and be like, oh, I've shipped there before. So cool.
Yeah, it's funny for me sometimes to think like, you're in Switzerland. How did you know I exist?
Right? And that is so cool.
Yeah.
So then sending a little piece of Atlantic Canada to Switzerland, tell us what like you love about being from Atlantic Canada.
I love being from Atlantic Canada. I mean, we have the highest tides in the world and also the largest lobster, which are great things. In all seriousness, I think it's the people. Whenever I leave the Atlantic provinces and come back, it's always such a relief to be back where people open the doors for you and say sorry when you run into them, you know, in the grocery store. It's something that I've been a few different places and I haven't seen it like that anywhere else. And you know, I love coming back to, you know, someone's at the gas station and they hold the door open for you, or, you know, just little acts of kindness that I think really kind of make Atlantic Canada kind of what it is. So
I love that. So does being from Atlantic Canada inspire your work?
Well, I wasn't really sure until I started looking at things I'd made and I realized that a lot of them have an ocean theme. I've made a bunch of sea creatures like octopi and starfish and dolphins, and just all kinds of ocean type things. Because when I can, I love to get out and just sit and watch the ocean while I crochet. It's a great backdrop. And also I've made a lot of warm hats because it's cold here.
Totally. What's your favorite thing about being a maker?
I think my favorite thing about being a maker is finding other people who share my love of crafts. Whether it's other makers or just people who, just really anyone who appreciates like the time and effort and skill involved in what I do. Even if they don't make the same kind of craft, or even if they're not crafty themselves, it's really great to have people who really kind of, you know, enjoy what I do and appreciate it. And it just makes me feel, happy, I guess. It makes me feel happy when I can share, you know, my love of crafts with other people.
That is so perfect. Like that's such a perfect answer. So is there a maker that inspires you?
So I don't have a specific maker that I would point out, but I am part of an online group for people who crochet, and there are people from all across the world who are in this group, and you know, we can ask each other questions if we're stuck on things and help each other out. But most of all, we post things that we've made. And it's so awesome to see what everyone else is making, because then I want to make it too. And it's really funny because, you know, one of us will make something and then 10 more of us will be like, look, I made it too. Because we're just all inspiring each other. And it's really great, you know, because if I show something I made to my family, you know, they'll be like, oh, that's really cute. But then if I show it there, it's like, oh, your stitches are very even, and other such things that don't matter to other people. So yeah, I'm very inspired by that group of people. It's really, really cool to see, because once again, they make things that I never would have thought of making. So it's really fun to see what they come up with.
That's such a great resource to have. And
because I don't think I've ever really met anyone else in real life, certainly not anywhere near my age, who crochets. So it's really nice to find other like-minded people, even if they aren't kind of right here.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So neat. Why do you think it's so important for us to support local makers?
I think it's important for a lot of reasons, but it's when you buy something from an Atlantic Canadian maker, you know, the money is not going to some big company. You know, it's just going to everyday people, and a lot of us are working, you know, out of our homes during our free time. And when you're buying something from us, you know, it's going towards crafting materials or home or car repairs or groceries or just normal things. And I think there's just something, you can have kind of a sense of pride in buying something local because you know you're helping out someone who's kind of from your community.
So true. Like we don't think about how much of an impact it makes when we buy directly from someone in our community and support them, because you're right, like that money goes right back into, like, chances are they're supporting somebody else and another small business in the community, and it just
Exactly.
cycle,
like
and we
my
just
material from other local vendors, you know, I'll get hand-dyed yarn or eyes or all kinds of things. And I saw a post online not too long ago that I really liked because it said, when you buy from a small business, there's an actual person out there doing a little happy dance. And I thought that is so accurate, because when I see an email come in that says, congratulations, you got an order, I'm like, oh, yay, what did they get?
yeah, it is. It's very exciting. You're right.
Yeah. And it's like, it doesn't matter how many times it happens, I'm equally excited.
So before we sign off here, I want you to tell us a fun fact or something really interesting about you.
Sure. I thought about this one and I was a little bit puzzled, because I was thinking, I don't know if I would consider myself an overly interesting person. So I texted my boyfriend. I said, what's interesting about me? And he was like, a lot, but you perform in musical theater, and that's something that not a lot of people do, and that's fun and interesting. And I thought, that is fun and interesting. So I perform, sing, dance, act in local musical theater productions, and the last couple of shows I've done have been Grease, A Christmas Carol, and Elf, which I didn't even know was a musical until we did it. I thought it was just a movie.
That I had no idea.
No, but it's great.
Really, really cool.
Yeah.
So have there been like Zoom performances happening with musical theater over the last few months?
It's been a really, really hard time for the theater community, just like it's been a really hard time for the crafting community, because really we know it's going to be one of the last things to come back, because to have just that many people together on a stage, but then to have an audience full of people is just something that we don't know when it's going to be able to happen again. Yeah. So we can't really jump into any projects because we would have no idea when we would be able to present them, right? But I've been, blaring the show tunes at home, and I'm keeping it, even if it's just for my cat.
Good for you. Well, before we're just gonna head out, but we want to let everyone know where they can find you. So we have your Etsy shop link below, but we also want to know your social media handle. So if you could just share with that, and we'll share that after the video as well.
Yeah, so I have an Instagram for my work and sometimes my cat, because she doesn't like when I take pictures of things that aren't her, because she's clearly the star. So it's at Sarah's Crochet Can, and we'll put that somewhere to be found as well, I'm sure.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for chatting us, and we can't wait to see you in your shop.
Awesome. Thank you.
See ya.